Good afternoon and welcome all the attendees and panelists to day 4 of the webinar series 8 Days, 8 Architects, 8 Cities. I, architect Tanay Ambavane, on behalf of Marathwada Mitramanda College of Architecture, Pune, would like to welcome our panelist, Dr. Supriya Nene, Principal at MMCA, Architect Girish Doshi, Design Chair at MMCA, and our speaker for today, Architect Saurabh Pradeep Malpani from Pune, India. Thank you, sir, for joining us today. I will take this opportunity to introduce our speaker for today. Architect Saurabh Malpani is an architect, designer, principal, and co-founder of Earth Studio and Studio Made in Pune. Architect Saurabh Malpani studied architecture at the School of Architecture, CEPT, Ahmedabad. He has received academic award for consistent performance and gold medal for best design in his final year for academics. He has worked with renowned masters of architecture like Jeffrey Bawa in Sri Lanka and Alvaro Siza in Portugal. Earth Studio, translation of Earth in English is meaning, and at Earth Studio, that is precisely what the firm aims at while designing. The firm aims at creating spaces and products that are beyond the pragmatic confines of the current design environment and mere reflections of our own beliefs. The studio has received many regional, national awards and has been recognized for its commitment to smart and sustainable design practice. Studio Made in Pune, MIPU, is a collaboration of various artists and designers of Pune to create versatile artifacts and products. The studio works on an inspirational venture that strongly reflects the designer's passion and dexterity. Welcome, sir. I would like to request Saurabh sir to kindly start with his presentation.
Thank you, Danay. Thank you, MMCA. Thank you for staying for this phenomenal series. And we already had three very nice lectures. Uh, Starting from Iranthi, then Biju, and then yesterday Bijoy. It was very interesting how everybody is talking interestingly and everybody is interwoven the maths of architecture and design and urbanism with our human society around. Today, when MMC approached, this thought, initial thought was what to pack in pandemic. Uh, Gave a lot of thought and came idea that the today's lecture I titled is Sense, Sensibility and Simplicity. While working with Jeffrey Bawa, till then I was not I was accept, I had a phenomenal teachers, but till then it was still a confined boundary and we were exposed to a lot of things. But when I went to Sri Lanka, I found the architect's role is way wider. It's not only limited to building. It's of course urbanity, sociology, and other things. But parallelly, when I was at Bawa's office, I felt I was observing so many small things, and then when I was around, I saw few objects which really taken my attention. I will start showing you two, three objects and then we go to the presentation. Bawa had one of this ashtray. This ashtray it's designed by Beck and Chung. It's Danish designers, and this ashtray takes care of cigarettes, cigars, and bidi. It's a simplicity, but still has a universality in it. One of other objects by Bawa which taken my attention was one of his lamp. The simple with rosewood base, stainless steel barrel, lamp next to the bed. It is used for the reading. If you want extra light, you can just move, you get more light. There are three different materials used: stainless steel, brass, and the wood. These things of these two objects really taken my interest. I will show you, I will go to the presentation. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So the today's lecture I called Sense, Sensitivity and Simplicity. Sense, it is a faculty of which body perceives with external stimulus, faculty being sight, smell, hearing, taste and touch. And sensibility, the quality of being able to appreciate and respond to complex emotional or aesthetic influences. Ability to receive sensation and tactile sensibility. While simplicity, when we see Gandhiji's sketch, it is something easy to understand and explain. Other simplicity, Leonardo da Vinci says, simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. Another quote from Jonathan F. Simplicity is not the absence of clutter, that's the consequences of simplicity. Simplicity is somehow essentially describing the purpose and the place of an object and product. The absence of clutter is just a clutter-free product. That's not simple. Simplicity is the essence of universality, spoke by Gandhi. And today I will be speaking mainly how the same sensibility and simplicity in design. Yesterday and day before yesterday, Biju's lecture and Vijay's lecture, we spoke, and Hiraldi's also, we spoke of the scale from 500 to 2000, and then about architecture in 50 and 100 scale. Today I am thinking to take from 1:1 scale to go to 1:50, 1:100 scale. So, first touch of the objects designed by architect Alvaro Aalto was, I was exposed to it in School of Architecture in Ahmedabad in library. The Savoy vase, which was designed in 1937, where the technology of bending glass and blowing glass together was used. And this taken my attention, like being an architect, how an architect is designing the product. While searching more, I banged on Alto's furniture, where in 1930s, the bent wood technology was very much prevalent. So if you see stacking stools, then same stool is changed into the chair, bent wood chair, trolley. So this really fascinated me. Yeah, I should take the laptop. It's better now. This is a mirror designed by Caesar. And this is one of the very, very simple object which I saw. And I will read what Mario Gotthard talks about the mirror. I believe it is possible, simple, easy and obvious to talk about scissors through this object. Caesar takes a slanting piece of glass, cuts it, seizes it in an angle and curves the wire which turns into an element of support. All is so simple and natural that it becomes wonderful. It is all indispensable. The slanting glass is indispensable. The nick in the corner is indispensable. Indispensable the wire, the support piece, the intelligence of support, the strength of wire, the curve of the wire. Indispensable, finally, for the humankind, the poetry of whole synthesis. It is an object of rare constructional knowledge. I think that it is a little like Alvaro Caesar's architecture. Sometimes so simple and essential that it seems commonplace. I think, on the contrary, that it is simple and essential like the miracle of poetic composition. Mario Botta wrote in November 1980. So these are the drawings and images of the mirror. And if you see the slanting support of the wire and the slanting edge of mirror supports each other. And here you can't remove anything from this object, and you can't add at all anything in this object. So this was another inspiration, how such a simple thing can be such a smart thing as well. While working with Caesar, I was working in one of his projects in Contemporary Art Museum in Donna Regina in Naples. We had a challenge to light the double vaulted space. It's a old Haveli kind of building from 18th century, which was getting converted into museum. So while working, we had everywhere other places where we didn't have a double vault. We had a inverted table, a way of lighting of Sida's invention. But here, because we had a vaults and we wanted to keep the vaults as it is, how we light up the space uniformly. These are the sketches made by Caesar, where he puts 4 lights in the corner, but these lights cannot be fixed in the corner. Reason being they are made by ERCO and they cannot be changed, because you change, they don't have European Union stamp on top. So we decided to come up a support. So after Caesar drew this sketch, we worked out the model in paper, how we made the model 1:1 scale and checked how it is getting fixed to the light, made the drawings, and then we made a left and right both side, and this is the way it is getting fit at the Museum of Donna Regina in Naples, and it uniformly lights up the space. This is one of the artwork by Palladino in showing the art of South Naples. Pompeii, sorry, it is showing the artwork of installation of Pompeii. Now I will go towards when I was reading the Style movement. The Style movement was just finished 100 years in 2017, but this object which I designed was made in 2013 in the tribute of Jeffrey Bawa's decennial year of passing away. Here, if you know, the Style movement came from the Holland, and where the main prevailing people were, a person was Piet Mondrian, and there, if you see their products, somehow the detail what you see in center is the one which is not fixed with each other. It's next to, around each other with the column, with the wedges. So here it was very interesting how the joinery of wood happened. And while I was working and coming with the idea, this is one of our product called Candelabrum. And this was in thought with when Jeffrey Bawa made so many good restaurants in hotels, what can be used on his table. So this was one of the we call it Candelabrum. So it is packed this way. And when it is opened, you get 5 aluminum pieces with 2 box. So it can be used in permutation combination the way you see it. It can be for a date table, it can be for a bigger table, and it is lit up like this. If we have time at the end of presentation, I have some demonstration, so we can see if we can do that. But when I went to show this to one of the vendor, that this is what I really would like to make from you, because one of the very good vendors from Pune, having 120-year-old factory, but he said, Mr. Malpani, this is good, this is not Indian. And I said, yeah, it is not Indian because philosophy comes from something else, some other movement. And he said, therefore, I will not manufacture it. I said, fair enough. I went to another vendor and got it done. But that prompted me to come up with another product. We call it Candeline. It is a fresh look of Kandil. And by providing the flexibility to use it on the table or fixed wall, we came up with 2 permutation combination. It's a simple stainless steel folded plate where the candle shade glass takes care of the wind prone zone, and it is made with the 2 variants. One is circular, one is square, and both can go in the box, and this is the way it works. So both have the hinge on top and the ring at bottom. So hurricane glass goes into the ring, and the top ring supports it from getting it moved. And you can take this object and move around without the candle going off. So this was a product which we thought it's very Indian and also can be used in veranda, which was not possible with a candelabrum. This is another product we came design. It's called the Eye. It's a study lamp which, when placed on a table, it works like a spotlight projected from height. It can be, and when it's inverted, it can be diffused. Simple with a wooden base with brass hardware which takes it up and down. And this is the way you say it. The actual eye and eyeball socket joint is a door locker of the magnet, which is allows the light to move around 300 degrees all around. This is the table which I designed with one of our collaborator called Satyam Petroda. We call it Tango table, and it takes the inspiration from the dance, and where the legs of two people go within each other, but that makes the whole dance poetic and strong. And our table, which we designed, was thought for a mass production and with minimum wastage. So if you see, it's designed for a flat pack and uses the laser cut to cut the modules. When you join the module, you see the right side, the single module. When you join two modules, it becomes more sitting. If you join modules in a horizontal position, you get the three different variants of the table. If you join the third module, you get the longer table. Tabletop can be modified as per the requirements. And we call it Armageddon top, we call it elliptical top, squarish top. But if you join more modules, it becomes way longer. It can be also used for a library purpose, to store the books in between and make it as long as one desires. As well as when it is not required, it can be dismantled. And this was another inspiration, how minimum wastage we do with the material. While designing this, we had a happy accident. We called this lamp Star of Judah. When these two modules of, which is the single module, when joints in other direction, makes the hexagonal star. It can be hanged from the top, and this is the drawing or the technology. It is with laser cut technology. We made it so that it uses again a minimum wastage, and we made holes to get the heat escaped. This is the another variant with the base. I will get now with this rock and roll bench. Bench, we came up with a joke that bench which can roll all around the orbit of the planet. So there are two components to it, one up and down. When it is on top of each other, it works like a normal Cleopatra or bench. But when they are joined together with a wooden hinge which has a brass pin, and so they can roll on top of each other. And this is the way we joke. One is a bride, one is groom. So they both together, when they're married, they look like this. It is for two, and this is for four. So the same table we designed for one of our project where client wanted to be on a dining table, but not to have any chairs, because they were used to sit on the floor while having the food. But with the time, with the new requirements and the people getting elderly in the home, they wanted bench which can be again used for the same principle. This is our project in rural Maharashtra, where it's for a farmer who owned the land of 28 acres and wanted a small house which where his old house existed. So this is a map, and the Umri Balapur is the place which, if you see in the Google map, it's really green and rich because of the water going. So if you see Agriculturally, it only had, if you see the down's photo, it had a hill which had an ancient cave, and the client wanted a house facing towards that. The top left corner is the old house which was made in brick and the mud. We used initial thoughts how we can come up with his. In this sugarcane belt, we have lot of leopards. So one of the reason this house got initially from the day one, the concept was introverted house so that it looks inside the court. And other reason, this farmer works whole of his time in the farm. He said, working whole day in the farm, I don't want to see the farm. So I can have a break when I'm in my house. So we came up with a courtyard house where one side you have a living veranda, other side you have dining veranda, small kitchen, and the bedroom is only closed space with a small case, the small garden, private garden to it. These are the basic sections. We look through the courtyard and through the bedroom. And if you see through the bedroom, you get an attic on top of the toilet, which is used when his son is coming from the city and staying with him. Few wall sections. It's a composite masonry structure with brick from inside, stone from outside. There are few working sketches, models, and other things we were joking. In the right corner, we were thinking to make a periscope. If by accident leopard comes in the courtyard, he can check with the periscope, and as well with the same periscope, he can have a morning darshan of the caves sitting in his bed. So we used all the bricks, and we had a fire bricks from the close by Clint. We got salvaged all the old material, roofing tiles, and with the local craftsmen, which were the boon to have them, and they were the great teachers of mine as well. Certain things they agreed to do because certain things are not there in the tradition, and certain things they said, this is the way tradition asks us, and we have to respect the tradition. So these are some construction execution photos. The name of the house is Anand. Extra stone which was left, we used it for the dining table. This long stone, getting long stone from the quarry is no more possible by hand. This was always there, and this was again a salvage from the old well, and we got this for the lintel, and there were extra which we used for dining table. This is how it looks from outside. The door is traditional the way it is constructed, but if you see the two side windows, they are monolithic stone, 1.5 feet by 1.5 feet by 1.5 feet stone, and by chiseling out, they made the window. Out of that, no leopards can enter. This is other view. The bottom part is local basalt stone with brick on top, with wooden soft skin and construction from inside. He also has cows, so putting the cow dung as a flooring was a very simple and most healthy option we felt, and he agreed upon it. Nothing too raw, because we designed the furniture which will be most of the times will be fixed, like a dining table. We had this living sitting. The left side corner is a small powder room. This right side, opposite side, is a dining, and the right corner is a water body and a prayer room. With old gramophone, we made the lights. This is the court looking towards the courtyard, and we also joked in the very winter time, because we had fire bricks from old clean, we will use for the courtyard. So in winter, we can put the bonfire. He can do the shikar of the whichever animal. This was a joke, but bonfire can happen, and both the verandas get a good hit from it. This is a detail of the windows and the prayer room door. Kitchen continues the same language and has a gas, and which is the biogas from his cowshed. Most of the wood, what you see, is all salvaged from the nearby Hanuman temple, which was getting renovated from the people of the village. And none of the RCC work is used. Where we needed a slab on top of the toilet, it's vaulted. And if you see other side, the next photo is an attic where one has a small study and a single bed. And this is a other image of the how the section is used, because that attic is extra space we get. Rather than making a storage room, it was used for another restroom, rest space. These are other details with the windows, where other side the windows open two sides, but the central window always we had an issue which way it open. So we opened it from top and bottom. Where we could not, if you see in this photo, where we had a clear soffit height and where we wanted to hot air to get escape, it was too tall and it is made in lures and it is used from the below. This is another small project where we had to design a Tulsi Vrindavan. This Tulsi Vrindavan is in Maharashtra and rest of the South India, as well as part of Gujarat and Madhya Pradesh. Tulsi is kept in the center of the courtyard for doing a puja, and in the morning people do the pradakshina around it. So these were the normal traditional Tulsi Vrindavan. So if you see, these are the whatever available visually as well as exist in the Maharashtra. And we were looking for what can be new contemporary, because our house which we are designing has to respect the language. So while checking, we only found this right two corners way more contemporary, but rest were all traditional. And client was fine with the traditional, but we said it doesn't go with your language. And then we came up with the design with terracotta tiles. So whatever terracotta tiles which were not used in the house, we stacked them and redesigned, and with the plus and minus, we made the niches, and this is the way it sits in the court. It takes care of the, this is how it looks. So the terracotta tiles in the center brick courtyard, this is the way it stands. It was very interesting how the tiler was enthusiastic, because he never put the tiles vertically stacked on each other. And he was very happy कि मैंने high rise tile का tower बनाया sir. This is where at this context, at the time of construction, it became our discussion point. Once Tulsi was installed, it became the prayer point. This is a photo from Diwali when I happened to be there. And this is the court in the evening, in winter. I will talk about this project a little briefly. This is a project in other part of Maharashtra, close to my parents' place in Sangamner, where a client wanted a vada. Vada is a traditional huge house for a joint family, and typically having courtyard with introverted organization. And I asked the client why they need a vada, and the reason being that their ancestors always had a vada, and when the family grew, the vada went to the elders, and these people again seek for the vada with the present time. And then we asked questions whether what is your lifestyle? You don't wear any more dhoti, you don't wear feta. How we can make a contemporary vada? So we said we will not make a vada in wood. Wood will be the not only cladding material, but it will be not used as a structural material, because it will be the quantum they wanted was a huge, and we came up, we studied few vadas in the region, and then came up with a 2 courtyard vada. So if you see in the plan, the ground floor has 2 courts, where the semi-public is for the people who are from the village, who wants to have the discussion with this family, some other meetings can be held in this, while the next court is a semi-private which is belongs to the family, and upper level becomes completely private where the bedrooms are. These are the few elevations. And what we traditionally use, two things from the Vada typology, is the thick wall, courtyard, and the thicker slabs. So here on top of the RC slabs, we got around 21,000 earthen pots made, and for keeping the heat insulation, we put them inverted and again did the waterproofing on top of it. These are the traditional Vadas of our area. The rightmost is from Sangamner, which is the closest to the place, and others we studied, and their internal typology with wooden columns and post and beams. And this is what we came up. A is where you enter, N is the first court, C, L are the meeting places where they can entertain as well as discuss the local issues with the people, and D is being a big mandir, is a their satsang place where their gurus comes once in a year, or once whenever they come they can have that hall for a meditation. F is a dining, J and K are the living, where still in community when whole family comes, ladies still don't sit with the gents. So they had their ladies living and gents living. So J and K are there. That I is mother's room. G, H are the kitchen and utilities. Upper level there are two sons and one father owner. So R is for the master bedroom. SQ are the children's room. P is a guest room. These are other sketches. This also belt has a leopard, but your concern was more than leopard, how small and a small window we can make just for ventilation, and how we can use the courtyard as a main principle for lighting the rooms. These are other sketches. This is the wall section, how it works. So walls are thick. If you see, for a way we constructed, we had two till the plinth level double brick, almost 60 centimeter thick wall, and then it becomes a 340. These are the other sketches of the process, and this is how it finally came out. So it's exposed brick structure, and Parasmani being their father's name, it is named. And at the entrance we use the stone bricks to manifest the entrance. These are, an entrance is also cladded with copper being a material which ages with the environment and as well as changes its color, but without getting disturbed by the rain and the heat, direct sun. This is first court where we had a copper balcony from the upper level, from the private area to see into semi-public. This is internal court where for the place where we designed the Tulsi Dunda. If we see minutely, this is a very interesting photo where we had 4 types of different railings. Ground railing was only 60 centimeter tall because we only needed it from people not going very close to the edge, as well as people can able to sit on top of it. Upper level has a 90 centimeter railing, and to extreme right and left side there was a baitak was made in the same railing, and topmost railing is only for support but doesn't stand out. So it was also interesting exercise how we do not make the things strongest shouting at the top. If you see in the center, there is a Surya because they were the Suryavanshi people, so they wanted a sun, and we made okay, we'll give a graphical sun to you. These are other baithaks in the public area. The staircase, another veranda on top, upper level, And here, where you see the right side sun, they wanted a Navgrahas, and Navgraha being a strong influence in their culture, that they were the rings of some specific graha, and I was very, I was not aware how to handle this situation where we had grahas. And we said all these Navgrahas are fighting with each other, we don't know. The day they finish the fighting, they will come and talk with the sun. And that's how we made this installation where we have sun at one side, and other side we have all the Navgrahas having Jupiter being an arbitrator talking with sun. These are other images from the same project. Now I will come to back to the 1:1 small scale projects. This was the project where we were asked to design a small temple in a new age apartments. We collaborated with architect Divya Jyoti from Pune, and we said what can be. She is very good in pop-up art as well as pop-up cards and calendars. So we had this 5-meter long wall where, as per the Vastu reason, we had wanted only small niche as a temple. So we said, okay, we will come up with one temple, but we can have a series of temple like any ghats. And client being originally from Madhya Pradesh, we thought about Ujjain Ghats. Then we worked upon Ujjain Ghats, as you see the series, and taken one main temple as our one temple and turned ghats into the plants. So the lower part, right side, is a model which we made. And the section of the main temple works like this. On top is the shikhara, and its most important shikharas are than the rest temples. As well, the client wanted some storage of the temple, which was taken care in this furniture piece. And the other temples became more like ornamentation, and it is a part of dining. This is how the whole assemblage happens when we put the temple with respect to ghats and other temples. And this is how it looks in the artificial light. This is another Tulsi Vrindavan. When we designed the first Tulsi Vrindavan, it was very appropriate for that project. But we realized that if we want to shift that Tulsi Vrindavan, it is not possible to shift. It is not possible to dismantle. So how this traditional wooden joinery and bulky design of Tulsi Vrindavan, which can be incorporated and made light for an urban apartment and possible to make it flat pack. So this is the way we design. If you see, it's a one-piece marble, which is water jet cut, has a niche in between, and they interlock with each other. When these two pieces are installed with each other, they sit on top of with each other with shear connector, and the top part can hold the pot, which can take the Tulsi Vrindavan, as well as it also can have a very beautiful bird bath place. This is the prototype of it, and it can be, if you're shifting from Pune to Bombay or Bangalore, you can take your Tulsi Vrindavan along with you. So this was another product which came out of the need and out of the new aesthetics client was desiring. This is another chair we designed with our sculptor Prabhakar Singh. It is inspired from low back Chesterfield and fusion of timeless aesthetics. It provides the comfort and oscillation. Oscillation comes because of its slender legs. And that oscillation really gives a calming effect, because when you are relaxed, that oscillation really helps to take your thoughts together. These are other versions of the same table in the space, where the center table takes the inspiration from the Sri Yantra and we made it inverted Sri Yantra. This is another chair, again sculpted and crafted by Prabhakar Singh. Here, this was the dining table we designed dining table for that Nuvo Vada, which was 5 meters long. The client had a requirement that 14 to 18 people can sit on that one table given a time. After designing the table, we could not find a chair. And this was our actually first chair, which we made. It took almost 45 days to get ergonomically correct. We wanted it without any cushions so that anything spills over will not have an issue, as well as if it is open or kind of perforated from below and back, one doesn't get sweaty. So this is the 5 meter long table with the chairs. This is another piece which is inspired from the Mahabharata, where Bhishma is resting on a bed of Arjuna's arrow. This idea came completely where we wanted a bench and we did not know what bench can come. And this was an interesting inspiration. We saw this image, then we saw more images where Arjuna is putting the arrow for Bhishma's when Bhishma was thirsty. We saw more traditional, more heritage based sculptures, because in some stories arrows are other ways, some stories arrows are this way. So we took this inspiration and designed a simple bench which we call it Bhishmai. So it has few arrows below. So it has arrows we made 2-3 options. We made in wood, we made in aluminum, we made in stainless steel. But then for one bench, it was most smart to make in wood. And this photo shows how we tested it before making, and this is how the final outcome came. Wood, because of wood, we could color it and we could have fun, which can be used for sitting, resting. And after doing this, we only realized the drawback of this bench is that we can't use it exterior because it is with wood and plywood. So we made another variant in stainless steel with a stainless steel top and stainless steel bottom with stainless steel arrows. From this object, I will take you to another small project of ours, a small nursery which we designed pre-primary school in Pune, where it was a very tight plot and in a new urban setting where client already knew both sides of the plot. We will have around 20 floors of the building, and in future we will be not having this beautiful landscape around. So he said, if possible, we can make a central atrium and a common space where we see the whole building inside. And this one of the, I will take the photo about, this is the first floor atrium where you see the 4 sides are the cutouts to take the hot air up, as well as it's a see-through to ground level. And the central part was made, again, worked with Prabhakar Singh, where here I always think its form follows the function. And here this semicircular dome was used as a flag hosting, trekking for the kids, musical chair, and above the dome we had a funny mirrors for the bridge crossing on a second level. And it again become fun with the children, where you see they can sit on it and see below, as well as when they see up, it is a funny mirror. The color of the same thing has taken, so I'm only showing you very few institutional projects because I want to limit myself for smaller scale things. This is again when we were working in Virar, suburb of Bombay, for old age home. And when the project was finished, it was centenary year of the style movement. And we made the project cost was a very tight with the NGO budgets. And we thought every floor we will have one red, blue, yellow color, which was the primary colors of the, and where the style movement used very strongly. And we can have the red color balcony on first floor of the D'Souza uncle, the yellow with Joshi auntie on other level. So this was in Virar, and the front from the roadside, you don't see much of the building because it is with the barricaded with the rain trees. And what Biju was talking day before yesterday's lecture, here we also had where we have a common social spaces. All the landings overlook on each other. Elderlies can talk from one floor to other floor, which are staggered. So, but where they have corridor, it's a small window, so that they are asked to come in or they are strongly, they come where the open space is, and that is where the social node happens. The permutation combination of each room, it's the same room with a different four permutation combination. So if you are two male, if you are two females, if you are two friends, if you're a couple, you can modify the positions as per your requirements. This is a very interesting project we are doing at the moment. This is I'm doing with my architect friend, with senior from my college, Fiona Menezes. This is in Goa, where the requirement came to build a chapel on top of the existing sloping RCC roof. They wanted a very chapel in the building, but whatever the requirements of refurbishing at ground level and the building being a load bearing, we could not accommodate the size of chapel they wanted. So we proposed the idea, and if you see the plan, between two sloping roofs, the interior slopes are used for a nave, and at the end is the altar. Altar was the addition in the existing building for the requirements at the lower level. And our idea of using how, if you see in this render, the section of the existing building is in dark, and how we use this sitting which faces towards the altar, because when we designed this initial said it will be 15 people chapel, at the end it became a 45 people's chapel. And then with the same integrity we planned how the sitting can happen at two levels, and this is the model showing how it will work. This is my first project when I came back after working with Alvaro Siza. And that time I was just back from Portugal, and art in Portuguese means air, and Foley is architecture, means it's a object which doesn't have a usual purposes of housing and sheltering associated with a conventional structure. So here client wanted a simple tree house, but with concept grew, and he said, if possible, I would like to sleep under the sky whenever desired. So here we designed a folly with one big space which can be opened when desired. The roof can be opened with winch and pulley system, and you sleep under the sky. And this is the way it works when it is roof is closed. It is covers the upper level, and when it is open, it also forms a double volume at the front. These are the windows, because this was a very moderate climate and it was all covered with a lot of green around. So the kind of fenestration needed was a different. So we did not have the glass, but we had a bamboo mats, but fixed bamboo mats, and when required, it can be opened. And this is a very direct influence from one of the Baba's window in Hotel Triton, which the detail is little modified for the purpose. And when it's very lightweight structure can be also moved. This is another interesting project we have just finished, where we use the client as a context. This is one of my classmates who is Punjabi by origin. It's extravagant. He's still, he can wear, if you see the photo down, in one of his cousin's wedding, this is the whole family, the way family dressed up. And I always joke with him that we can't ever, like if you see this photo in the cage, if you see his pant, well, at this age in that small town, we can't wear such kind of clothes, but he really enjoys. And his context of the house was really terrible. I will show you. So we, being a Punjabi and being a situation, we came up with a possibility how we can add the colors and be loud and be strong from outside. And we worked out the different colors, almost I think 9 colors from outside, and how it can be a eye soothing for the surrounding. If you see the context, it is none of the, which on the left side we have a multi-story housing, small housing scheme, where all the 6 balconies are on top of our on our compound wall. But then we came up with this option that this will be something will people will would like to look upon. This is how it looks from the street, and the context being not a great, we had to make an introverted house. But from inside, it's like more like a vanilla ice cream. So it's a rainbow dolly we call. So only the colors which we used are in the furniture. And this is the veranda, and we cut the context of surrounding. And whatever vestige of, because this is the first time I used the Italian marble, and it's funny, I never used for the reason because I said it's not from India. But this person got the Italian marble for 110 rupees, and he said, now it's more sustainable by cost, not by the origin of the place. And it was a dilemma, but because he already ordered the things were at the side, slabs were at the side, then we negotiated, and from the vestige, we made this solid, thick parapet wall. And the place where the Satwari stone, which was not going with our language, we used it everywhere. We used for the doors and the partitions. But when we make this color, here we used plant as a context and used the colors only in coats and the places of the exterior scale. This is our studio in Pune, where Uday is giving, I think, lecture day after tomorrow. Uday happened to be in when I was making this my studio. And I said, Uday, I don't know what color I should put for my studio outside. I said, Pepsi ka baaju mein stand hai. Why don't you put the Pepsi color? And really made sense, giving the context how Pepsi vesicular can become a color of our office. And these are the fenestration. And if you see the sketches, how we can do the permutation combination, and when we really want to open our shop, we can open the shop, and when not required, we can close the surface inside, because our main entry is from the corridor, from in between the Pepsi cooler and our shop. Same time, while doing this colorful house, we are doing this house in Nashik. It's a second home for a nephrologist, where he wanted a simple house of 2000 square feet, and we were struggling because the corner plot, and a lot of land went into the road, and how we if we push the whole building towards the end so that we have maximum garden from the other side. And we used the metaphor of tortoise. This is the harder skin which faces towards south and west, and then we have a softer skin facing north and east. So from this is, I think, south facing, where we use the burnt brick uh, as a language, and this is the entry, and again this is also a south side, and this is a west. So there are entry from the west because it's a sloping side. So elderly can come from the west side and the main entry remains the south side. And from north and south, east, it becomes a very soft skin and more aperture, more openings, and it's treated also with simple uh, IPS plastering. This is a work pod, which is the extension of what I am showing since of 1:1 skill things. This is our office. Our office, I shifted it close to my place, and it's a old commercial block. So where the watch is, there's RCC column, and I ended up designing it because after taking juries of all my office mates, they said, sir, you only design. When I designed, one of the girls said, but from your place, because the photo is taken from my workspace and which faces, all, I can see everybody's screen. She said, but I'm not happy that we show you back. But I said, I can see your computer. But she said, no, give us a possibility that we can face you also. So that ended up with new possibility of our tables. So if you see all our this four collaborators tables are hanging, and uh, they work like a gantry girder at one end. Other side we have uh, channel, so it works supports on diagonally, and there are permutation combination. If you see the watch time, it can be really moved very fast. Uh, this is a permutation 1, permutation 2, permutation 3, permutation 4. So sometimes they can also be with next to each other. Permutation 5, permutation 6, and I always predict that if you none of you guys are there, I have to sit alone, and that is the permutation 7. This again going back, the triangular light which you see is also designed by Jeffrey Bawa, and it was a memory of my time I worked. And the low level, the orange frame is a Ganesha. It's actually my wedding card designed by Alvaro Siza, which is at the beginning of my studio. So this is one of the sketches Siza made when I was there, and it is fond memories how our time spent with him and work while still having the fun. So this was given me in 2004. And once I asked him, do you really need a guru for a practice? So his answer was yes, for initiation one needs a guru, but one can have a multiple gurus as one grows. So yesterday as Bijoy and Biju also said, Palasma, Doshi, Korea, they all are our gurus and they are around us. Uh, this also inspired us. I will just a minute, I will show you one film. How I can have. We started a group of like-minded people and friends. We started Rupali Social. Rupali Social, the main a few people who spend our time at coffee for drinking Rupali. I will show you the video just a minute. It's made by architect Divya Jyoti. I have to share the screen. It is.
So you can share the screen once your video is on.
Yeah. No, wait a minute. It's not sharing the screen yet.
You can click on this.
Yeah. Mm. Yeah. Here, the idea of Rupali being a coffee and how the same coffee keeps us. Can
So
you see
this,
it?
no, we cannot see the screen. Can you please
Okay.
share it again?
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Share the screen. Now you can see.
No, sir. Are you getting a share screen option at the down of your Zoom window?
No, wait a minute. Zoom. So, wait a minute. Tanay.
Sure.
That one, yeah. Click on the video right now. On your, yeah.
And now,
Share.
yeah, I think now it should be able to see.
Yes, we can see it now, sir.
So, idea of Rupali social was that how Pune and people from Pune see, and all the Puneites, they're small joints. How we call it this, I can run this video once again, how the Rupali Devi, we call it, how she can boost on us, and how typical Puneri people we can find in this all small joints. The idea of social Rupali social is that with this we can document small restaurants and the yeah. And how we take the participation of people, and because Rupal is a place, it's like a mini Pune, where the people from all walks of life comes, and it is within the city we find a variety of people. So when we go to Rupali also, we have variety of people and different background, different intellects, but how that's what it makes the Rupali as a place. And we are with the Rupali social, we are trying to document the culture, different small places, how people meet there, how people made their culture of the place and document it and put in front of people. So I think with this, I think I will end my session.
Saurabh, Saurabh,
Yeah.
you can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so it was absolutely wonderful presentation. Uh, Thanks sparing Sunday for us, and you are here. We really enjoyed our Sunday. Only we are missing Rupali coffee, but we'll do it
Yes.
sometime. So my first question to you is your journey from Sangamner to Sept to Bava, and then 3.5 years with Alvaro Siza in Porto. How did this all happen? You know, what is the kind of a link, and how you managed it? You know.
Well, I think in our family we already had too many smart people. We had people going to IIT, people going to BITS Pilani, VJTI, and I always questioned why one has to be in that league. And the generation before we had doctors, professor, lawyers. So engineer, professor, lawyers, doctors, all was cancelled. So what was left was one of the architect as a possibility. And there's an architect called Ravi Joshi from Pune, but he used to practice initially in Sangamner. And he suggested, if you really want to become an architect, why don't you apply for Ahmedabad school? And because of that, I went to SEPT with my brother to give an entrance. And for us, it was a Bharat Darshan because we were going to Ahmedabad, Bombay, Delhi. And after going to SEPT, I told my brother, this is the place I would like to study. He said, as per my engineering statistics, you will not get the admission because out of 3,000 people, there were only 8 seats available. So I said, but let's try. And I gave that time there used to be 3 levels. I cleared the first level, and it was after clearing the first level, I felt it first time that in '96 when SEPT has taken the exam, it was such a appropriate for the course. And when I was selected for second level, I really wanted to get in. And then that time, by then, it becomes more tough competition. But I was the 7th, I think. Yeah, I was 7th. And after entering, it was another story. My classmates' father, Vijay Kothivale, paid my money. My father could not turn for the admission. But it was very beautiful. I don't think that is possible in present time. Somebody else is paying for your money for your admission. But it happened. And we had a phenomenal teacher. So I'm really blessed. We had Walter D'Souza, Miki Desai, Kurla Varki, Professor Chaya, KB Jain, Anant Raje from our first year till third year. When I was in second year, one of our classmates, our friend Rohit Mankar went to do thesis on Jeffrey Baba's. And that time, whoever goes to study, he used to come back and he used to show the slideshows. He showed the slideshows of Baba's place, and that time only Jeffrey Baba's one book was available. And going to Sri Lanka was not very common because LTD was very strong. And I said, this is the architect which I would like to work with. And then when I went in third year, I think Baba was doing some projects with Raul Malhotra in India. And another friend of ours, Kai Dungarwala, was working in Baba's office. And through him, I got to know what is the possibility and process to apply. Applied, and 9 months I never heard from them. Finally, I went directly to Colombo and I said, I'm here, now I'm joining from tomorrow. And that's the way I joined the office. And it was very good de-learning what I thought that this is the way architecture works. It was too wider to see when I went to Bava. And after Bava, I won the exchange scholarship to go to Holland. My elder brother Ashish was very kind enough to pay me money to travel whole Europe. So that time, with the stipend, we could not enjoy so much the amount I traveled. And because of that, I could see the Rome. And another friend suggested, if you're coming from India, you should go to Portugal and see the warm climate architecture by Alvaro Siza. Till then, I never heard about Alvaro Siza. And I researched in Delft School Library. I found incredible things and I said I should go. When I was in Porto, very interesting thing happened. I was staying in youth hostel and there was another architect staying there, Italian, and he said, hey, what are you doing? He said, are you an architect? I said, yes, because I had a sketchbook. He said, Alvaro Siza, there's an architect called Alvaro Siza. He recently finished a beautiful museum. Do you want to come? By not knowing, I said, I will join. We went, and that time, the corridor entry of Alvaro Siza's Saral Museum. And Jeffrey Baba's number 11's house, if you see the entry corridor, they both have, they are very different, but both have a same magic. And that magic made me, I said I need to meet Alvaro Caesar. And because this was in 99, no, in 2000, I went and I said, because he is in Porto, I went and rang the bell. There was an architect called Brad Kelly who opened the door, who showed me the whole office. And I was really, and then he also being, he was a American architect, worked with Stephen Hall, and he was working with Caesar. And he said, if you have time, you should visit this so many other places designed by Caesar. And it's really helped because I was not aware and internet was still not on tape. So because of him, I managed to see all these places. When I was in Santiago de Compostela, I said, this is one of the architect I should work with. And I think that fascination kept going, and I did my final year thesis on Alvaro Sisa's work. And that's how I ended up going back to the Porto, studying my last year there, and having a Portuguese guide as well as Rajiv Katpale as my guide. So I could meet Caesar, talk what I was thinking, and there I realized he is very simple, straightforward, like a person who is very approachable once given a time. And he told me all my whatever I thought, and had a very, being a student, you have very naive question, why you have this all in your building, why you have a fascination of U-shaped building, and why you have this, all your buildings has protruding elements, something comes out, something. He gave a very beautiful answer. He said, how you meet your friends? With open arms. With open arms, maximum time I have a U-shaped building. For me, it was something I could know. Okay, that's so simple. Then other question I asked him about this protruding elements. Then he draw a very beautiful sketch for me. He said, look at your face. You have a nose which is coming out. You have ears which is coming out. Your eyes which are coming, going back. Mouth, there are more holes. So if imagine your face doesn't have anything of this, it will be characterless. All these elements add the character to my building, and therefore I designed this. So this was very simple. And one of the another question I remember I asked him, like being a student, what architecture means for you? Sir, you worked for like almost 5 decades of your practice. What architecture means? And I thought now some very great answer will come. And he first gave me the answer, earn money to run the practice. And I said, no, this is not happening because this is a architect Pritzker award. But he said, then he'd taken the big pause and he said, that is essential to run your practice, but you have to have a conviction. You have to have persistence. You have to have consistency. If you don't have conviction, what you are doing, you will not do anything. And that really changed the approach. And at the end of my thesis, I asked him, is it possible to work with you? He said, yes, always it is possible. And accidentally, I was working with university there because I was not having my own laptop. I came to India to finish my thesis, but university called me back to finish the work I was working with them. This was my holiday. I was graduated. I went to meet Caesar. Here I already spoke with Christopher that I will come and join you. And Christopher being a friend as well as a teacher from SEP, we knew him. But here, when I went to Caesar and one of the Sundays, he said to gift my thesis as a thank you and gratitude. He said, what are you doing? I said, I am here, but I would really like to work for you in future. He said, it is possible in future. As soon as I said, my future is next month. Because I go back to India, I don't come. And after that, I think we had 20 meetings, interviews. It was a very funny because there, though it is a big office, you have to directly talk with him. Nobody else decides who will take. And after 20 meetings, he has taken me. And for 1 month, then for 3 months, then 6 months. And I continued the project which I showed, the Museum of Dona Regina, I was worked on it, and I worked on 2, 3 other projects, and I kept there for 3 years, 3.5 years.
It seems Caesar was very nice to design your marriage invitation card, but then you pulled a total studio, the complete studio. You got all the people working for him were in your marriage in Sangamner, and you said that we'll all go to Taj Mahal, and I think you left Caesar there to do nothing, So
Yeah, that was
I think some stories related to that. We'll love to know what happened really.
I decided to come back to India when we were finishing the museum because it was almost 3 years of execution, and we were at the end of. And in between, I will just let a minute. I will. Show you one thing when. Can you see this? Hello?
Not yet, not yet.
Not yet. Wait a minute. Full screen. Now?
Yeah, now we can see.
Yeah. So I was engaged 3 years back. My wife is a physician, and I went to Portugal, and she got admission to do her DNB in medicine. So none of us had a time to get married. So it was anyway going to be 3 years. We knew we will wait, and I was working. And by the time this was her last year, and I was finishing the museum. So I told Caesar, and I was planning that I will come back to India. So that time, I think 3-4 months back, I went to Caesar and I said, Caesar, would you like to design my card? Which was not, I think, was not usual, but Caesar said, for what? I said, it is going to be for my wedding. He said, what do you want me to draw? I said, Ganesha, that's what we draw. He only knew Ganesha. I said, elephant god. He said, yes. And I knew he will need some reference. I will show you the reference I gave. So when I was in Portugal, I called my parents and said, can you send me some photos of Ganesha? And they sent me some patrikas. And this is what I showed to Caesar. Caesar, I said, this is the way Ganeshas are drawn on the marriage set. And he saw, and the topmost right he has taken, and he started drawing. If you see, he started drawing, and I asked him, Caesar, why you chose that one? Because there was simple, everybody does the simple, but how to make the complex thing simple is more challenge. And that's what he drew for me for my marriage certificate. Marriage card. And because of card, and after 6 months, I invited most of my seniors, and everybody agreed. And I think almost after 11, we were the 25 people working at that time. I think already 11 people have taken, and to get the holiday, you have to go to Caesar and ask the Caesar, we are going, and please allow us the holiday. So he used to mark who is not there. And with the time, he realized everybody is taking holiday in specific time, which is not usual, like January 2nd week onwards. So he asked the 13th person or 12th person, Simon was Italian friend. He also wanted to come. And I told everybody that I will not, Taj Mahal is far away from my place, but I will be surely showing you another Taj Mahal, which is Ellora Caves, the Kailash temple. That I will show you. So everybody who wants to come can do the Corbusier, Ahmedabad, all visits. But when they come this time, I will take you to Ellora and then go to my wedding, which was in a small town near Amravati. So almost everybody agreed, and I think by this 13th collaborator went, Caesar called me. He said, what do you think of yourself? I said, what? He said, everybody's coming for your wedding. I said, yeah, because you designed the card. He got more annoyed and he said, no, but in my lifetime, I never had a situation where I had to answer the people because their seniors are going, juniors are going. Almost out of 25, 50% office is not there. But he agreed. He was little annoyed with me when I was leaving the place, but he happily sent me then very beautiful serigraphy, and which is in this place. If possible, I will try to show you. And then, yeah, that's it. I think that's it. And most of the people came. I don't have, unfortunately, photos of the people.
So there is another story also during your time at Caesar's office. Bibi Doshi visited the office, and how was Caesar's large table cleared after many years for BVD to demonstrate yoga on his table?
Yeah, I think, well, Vivi Doshi, yeah, it's a very, in 2004, Vivi Doshi came, for, as a Pritzker Award juror for Sautude Mora's, seeing the Sautude Mora's building. And I think before this place, they already met each other in Philadelphia. Caesar lost his wife way long back in 1973. And I think Kamuben and BVD were there in Philadelphia apartment. And Caesar remembered fondly that Kamuben cooking very nice food for him. So he always had that memory very strong of BVD. But when BVD came in 2004, must be almost 78-year-old. Yeah, around 78-year-old. And Caesar was that time 71-year-old. So when they were in Pritzker jury, how old are you? He said, I'm 1927 born. He said, you look so fit, you look younger than me. What is your hidden agenda or hidden secret? Caesar said, I will show you. And that's how I will, wait a minute, I will show you. I think I have some photos. Wait a minute. So I think this was in, yeah. This is a sketchbook of Caesar, where Caesar is documenting for his healthy life all the postures what BVD was doing. This is in, I think, 4th November 2004, because it was my birthday. I remember the date. BVD came, first time we cleared all the drawings from Caesar's table, and BVD was showing him what is the straight position, and then Caesar was mimicking him. Then on top of the table, Doshi in Vajrasana, and then Caesar, and suddenly office became funny. Nobody wanted to work because this was never happened in our office. So everybody, like there's a Shimon, Matthias, Rita, everybody started pouring in the Caesar's cabin. Without permission, we never used to go in his cabin. And then Doshi showing different postures, Sukhasan, other asanas, and then if you see in left corner, there's another architect called Alburg. He was also trying to explain how this horizontal and more. If you see again the right corner, how Caesar is documenting each and every posture. And this is, if you see the image, where you see first image on top, it shows inside 1 minute, outside 1 minute, and how your lung goes up and up, down, then how you sit in Vajrasana, how many minutes. So this is what Caesar was documenting. And that's the story.
What a story, yeah. Last but not the least, I would love if you can please show your daughter Janki's drawings, because it is unbelievable, your young daughter, how she does drawings, you know. So please share some drawings of her. That's a request.
Yeah, no, let me find, wait a minute. Close this. Yeah, I think I will show you few of, wait a minute. Pause. Can you see?
Yes.
This, she's now almost nine and a half years old. This is last year she drew life cycle. So from age 1 to 5 years, everybody has fun. Everybody takes care of them. From age 6 to 19, one has to study on and on and on. And if you see this black face, small black face, some teacher or maybe me shouting, and one is there is a, I think, small uh, rat or mouse which is listening to it. Then if you see other way, age 20 to 80 is the gone life. It's time to work. That she wants everybody has to work till 80. And then I think age 80 onwards, she's saying you can rest. So then there's a resting time. This is one. Let me show you. Yeah. This is herself in her imagined what you say, wardrobe, oh no, dressing table, where she has all this different planes going differently. She has a stool. Uh, the way she becomes tall, she will need a different resting places on the stool. Her reflection as a princess, I think every young daughter wants to be princess. Niches for necklaces, rings, and whatnot. This is funny. This is the way she explained me the joke. She heard the joke in the school and she did not wanted to tell me the joke. So she said, see, this saint is doing om om, but these cows don't understand. They say this she's doing wrong. We say moo moo. So this is one of her drawings. I think I should have more. This is one drawing. I don't know what she was meaning, but she said people then were anyway blind because they were buying too many things than they required. And now people now like me and her mother, because they are more on the phone. Now my wife is, because of COVID, she is more on phone. Because of work, I am more on sometimes on a laptop. So now people are again blind. And I think there's one more. This is very funny. One day she drew for me Devi of Architecture. So for her Devi of Architecture, one hand she has laptop, other hand I think schedules, calendar, drawing, set square, and this is her interpretation. I think this was recently before lockdown. She made this drawing in the office. I think that's
Yeah. Great. Yeah. Thanks. Thank you so much. With this, I will ask Tanay to take questions from audience. We have still 30 minutes, so we can take a lot of questions. Thank you so much.
I can see if some people are interested, then I can show you few models or demonstrate.
Sure, why not? Sure, why not? Yeah, please go ahead.
Wait a minute. Yes, I can reduce. Yeah, I will shift the laptop. I will start with showing Caesar's mirror. So Caesar's mirror comes in a very beautiful packaging. It is only one line, and behind we have this write of text I wrote written by Mario Botta and 3 sketches by Caesar. Can you see it?
Yes, we can.
Yeah. Then when you open, this is the way it opens. You open more. there is a mirror, and if you see the packaging, this opens out. So this is the slanting edge of the mirror. We change the angle. Can you see now?
Yes, yes.
This is the way it can be kept, or this is also one can.
So mirror is on both side actually.
Mirror is both sides, yeah. So you can actually, if you want to change the angle, you can change the angle. Yeah.
Yeah, really nice.
I will also show you one of his lamp, which was one of our admiration for the. So this is a base. Wait a minute, I will just put the chair. Can you see the base? Yeah.
Okay.
There is a square base and square base. So lamp goes like this. There is another reflective stainless steel plate with a niche, which goes inside, and because of it, now if you see this, there is a bulb to be kept here, and you can shift the lamp, and because of the weight of the metal, you can
Easily do it.
yeah, and again, then it has the niches. You can change the angle of the light as per the reading requirement you want.
Nice.
I will show you another piece by Southern Moran. It's his take of open hand. It's called open hand as it's a flower vase, and it was his inspiration from Corbusier's open hand of Chandigarh, and he designed this open hand. So you can put the 5 flowers.
Right.
I can show you the candle brown. The box goes like this. Today I decided to show more on the small projects, reason being, I think from yesterday and day before yesterday's lecture, it was a different scale I wanted to talk about. This is out of this box. This box. And this, the both boxes are with magnet, so they can be fixed with a magnet. And as they say, the movement, this is the way whole light fitting candlelight happens. And if you're on the date table, you can remove this too, and it can be still table. Candles.
Yes, I think it is magnet, right?
Yeah, it is magnet which fix each other.
Correct.
This was the one which I was talking with the Star of Judah.
Judas.
So it has, yeah, so it is laser cut with minimum wastage. This was a brilliant collaboration with Satyam. This is another module. This module will go together. And then we designed this, but we have taken hanging was a simpler option. But to make it stand, I will just show you. We made it has taken us almost 1 year to resolve the standing solution. Let me show you the. You see the stand?
Okay, nice.
Mm, I think I can show the other. Candle lamps. This is a circular garment. And another one is a square. I think, yeah, I can show you more, but I think we should continue with Q&A.
Good. Thank you so much, Saurabh. Now I'll request Tanay to take questions.
Thank you, sir. Well, to start with, I would definitely want to mention that it was really an amazing presentation and a very interactive session with the options that you showed just now. And I would also like to mention that the materials that you have explored give a very unique language to the projects that you have done. And it is very interesting to, have that insight on the kind of projects and the materials that you have tried to use. With that, I have a question. With you being an architect as well as a product designer, how do you see the current use of materials broadly used in architecture, and whether they need to, in future we need to change them or modify them a little bit so that it can the way you used brick or stone or probably cow dung for that matter. So can they be more sustainable? What would you like to say about it?
Well, material, I think, just a minute. Yeah, material, I think whatever is local is the what we use. I think in whole project, if you see only one place we had a Italian marble, and that is also very interesting story because it was more cost effective than the Indian marble. But if you see, most of the materials which are in the market are market driven. And that's how I was, first time I thought it is not possible that Italian marble is cheaper than the Indian marble. But this is, if this is the case, then sometimes you lose the your battle of the local material with the client. Reason being, anywhere the marble comes from Rajasthan, which was not local to Maharashtra. So this was already imported, and that was a question first time because I never used till 10 years of practice this material. And here client was saying, hey, listen, this material is already here. I'm buying it because it's cheaper than what you asked for. And I said, how it is cheaper? He being a businessman, he said, I asked the vendor, what is left over? Whatever is left over, I bought it, and therefore it is cheaper. I said, okay. And then he said, it is your point, how you put it, them together. And but same time, while designing with for the farmer's house, it was very simple. This is a locally available. You have the people as well as yourself who can do it. And why we should put another material? It is not going to be ever correct for the place. I think, and see, I will not call myself product designer because I think it's all what we do as an architecture is also a product at the end. And today, specifically in design, in the presentation, I avoided to show more of architecture because I also feel architecture has to be experienced. It cannot be like there are limitations to show. While urban projects can be possibility of knowing through the 200, 2000 scale drawings, but architecture has to be experienced. Yeah.
Okay. So we have one question from an anonymous attendee. So how do you work on the logistics for all these product development? How is the cost incurred? Because this requires a lot of experiments for a final outcome, your work, and they have to say that your work is simply amazing.
Well, it's a passion. The products we do, we don't market ourselves. I think that is I learned very clearly from CISA. You design, but manufacturing is not my cup. Saying that, how we do the prototypes? Prototypes we keep certain money for the office. Out of that, we make one prototype. Sometimes, like most of the objects which I showed, they were thought sometimes for the projects we showed. So when we made the tell the client that we are going to design this, and the prototype, one prototype remains with us, and one prototype, the final goes to you. So they also agree, because that time we don't charge for them the design of the product. That time it is part of us, but we get enough money to do our R&D, do some mistakes, because all whatever I showed, I will show you the different things went behind while making the simple thing, arrow. First we made in wood to get the cost, one piece. Parallelly we made in aluminum, because aluminum is lightweight and wood is not monolithic material. After doing this, finally we decided the wood, because it was more appropriate for the context of the interior, and it was more cost effective. Parallelly, the bhusa of the wood can be used for some purpose. The waste of aluminum which I was paying goes only in recycling, and it's more expensive to recycle the aluminum than the wood. So cost wise and sustainability wise, aluminum is not really sustainable material. So it was one piece to make a product, but for outdoor we had stainless steel, because this we decided if we want to keep the piece in Bombay next to let's say Bandra initiative guys take our bench, where if you want to keep, where we keep, and if we keep next to the sea, it should sustain. So then we make it two variants. One is chrome plating, then checked, I think chrome plating was not needed, we removed. So it was, I think it's a passion. It's like what you do for food. Sabare, if you eat poha, you can't eat poha in the afternoon. You will eat, let's say, misal. Then in the evening, you may have a biryani. So you keep changing as per your thought and process. And I think for eating, you never get bored. So same goes with the product. I think you never get bored. You may fail. Like our flat pack Tulsi Vrindavan, initially nobody wanted to do it, because it was like, ye hoga hi nahi. But then you discuss, and finally somebody's ready. Like chairs we designed, like I'm now sitting on this, I will show this chair. This is a better, wait a minute. I'm gone?
Yeah,
wait a minute.
screen share.
Screen share. Can you see?
No, I think your camera turned off. Sorry, you can stop sharing the screen. Your video is off.
I was just showing, this is the way, and here the base is modified. But if I move it, it has a still moving. So that we realized by making the very slender column. And I think without doing it is not possible. You can do certain thing on digital model and the small scale physical model, but with material, sometimes you have to make 1:1 scale.
So our next question is from Nitin Patel. It was indeed an eye-opening presentation, Saurabh, given your varied design palette from a minuscule lamp to a Rajwada. How do you balance a product designer in you versus the architect in you?
I don't see as a duality. I think it's both. It's the same thing. It's a design, but only the issues with the architecture, the context is both has a context. But product design context can be, it doesn't matter when artist is doing his artwork. He doesn't have to rely on somebody saying good or bad. So it can go with the product, but for architecture, you have engineers, you have clients, contractors, they can do certain things, they can't do certain things. So it's a more collaboration. I think architecture is a big collaboration of products, while product designing is a limited You can play with few materials, essentials, and you can keep removing.
Right.
So I think, and I don't see them as a separate. It's the same. Both are the products. One is a product of like a bigger faculties, and other is a product of limited faculties.
So the next question is from an anonymous attendee. Sir, I love the tango table idea. What inspired you for such simple yet so interesting models and to bring them into reality?
We made the prototypes. We gave the prototype to client. It is actually the tango table. I can show you. I don't want to demonstrate. I can show you the model directly. See, it was designed when my one of the friend was in IKEA, Swedish friend. So this is the way, and it simply sits on top of it. So when he was in IKEA, he asked me, would you like to design something? I said, you guys only need a flat pack, and let me see what I can do. Actually, story started with something else. I was working with a firm called Locus Design. They are the product designers, and this when I came back from Europe. They're all NIDians. And we did a with architect called Atul Rajwade, who is your MMCA alumni. He was doing some exhibition, and out of that exhibition, some triangles were left. And I, being not from not state India, and for me this was a foam board, was a new material. And somebody, Atul only said it's an expensive material. I said, why we are throwing the triangles? I will keep the triangles. And that's how I had a triangles. And then when Satyam joined the office, we did not have much work. I said, let's play with the triangles and we come up with something. And we thought it will be only 6 days project, but it went for 6 months project. It's very viable if you have a laser cut machine and 18 mm plywood and basic joinery, it's already done in the laser cut. So it is a viable if somebody wants to do mass produce.
Yeah.
Because the way I learned as a CISA, I will only produce design and work on the royalty, but not on the manufacturing. Because manufacturing is a completely different ballgame. You have to have inventories, you have to know what will be selling, if it is not selling, how to sell it, how to market it. And I think there are people to do that.
Yeah. We also have an interesting request from, I think, a friend of you from Rupali Social. He wants you to share the video that you just showed about Rupali Social.
Yeah, I will. Just a minute. I have to. Yeah. Can you see?
Yes.
Yeah. Strong coffees, medium strong, normal coffee, satay coffee, black coffee, half coffee, 2/3 coffee, Rupali Devi. So Rupali Devi has all this coffees in her hand.
I think Rupali is a culture now.
Yeah, it is culture. And that's how the whole idea of Rupali Social is, how that culture can be documented, not only at Rupali, but all other places. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we have Abhin Chaudhary, who's our speaker in this series. He has he wants to mention it that absolutely inspiring, Saurabh, true sense of sensibility and simplicity. So
Thank you, Abhin.
Yeah. With this, I think I'll come to the last question, which has been which is asked by, or rather a second last one. We have a question where the anonymous attendee is trying to understand amazing presentation and concepts. What is the material used in the series of temple on the wall?
It's when we have such kind of projects, it's a simple MDF, HDF, high density board.
Yeah.
And cut with laser cut. All the drawings, actually, I did not show the process. Me and Divya, when we decided about Ujjain Ghats, initially it was Maheshwar Ghats, and Maheshwar Ghats was not happening at all. Then we went to Ujjain Ghats. Then Ujjain Ghats, Varanasi also we thought, but Ujjain was more simpler with the client to explain. When we decided, the again the one of the question who asked earlier, how you think about the cost, we could not do. We made the physical model, which is 1 is to, I think, 10 scale, 20 scale, which was working, but how you decide the scale in the real sense. So there we found with a new possibility, if you print a flex 1 is to 1 scale, we printed 1 is to 1 scale flex, we mounted on the wall, and we checked the heights. We realized this is not happening. We had to reduce the temple height. Shikra is too high, and we remodified it. We remodified all our engineering drawings, which was supposed to go for CNC cut. And then once we were sure about that with the heights, then it was cut once. We never had to go send back and carpenter was very happy because for him it was just a fixing at the right angle. So yeah.
That's a very interesting exploration of how a plan gets converted into an elevation and it becomes part of that space. With this, I have a last question from Gaurish. How do you protect exposed brick structures and consider its maintenance? And is it actually economical if we use protection chemical layer?
Good question. I think, well, you saw two exposed brick building. One was Wada and another was the burnt black building. So burnt black building was done in Nasik, where Nasik really pours high. And it was this building is the second farmhouse where client had only 30 lakhs rupees. And we were saying, client, in this budget, you can only put a corrugated metal sheet. We went till the end because we said in 30 lakhs, we can't put any other material. So we plastered the double coat plaster inside with waterproofing layer. And this, when we were going to clad, this was sure because of the south and west corner. So when client, we failed to convince for the metal sheet, and his answer was how much extra the brick will cost. I said brick will cost more, but there is a possibility of using burnt brick because burnt brick is not much porous as porous to this. So about there in that house, we use the second 2-layer plaster, and top of that we use the burnt brick. So there brick is more like an extra protection layer, and there we don't have to protect the brick because brick is already burnt. It is as good as, you can't say stone, but it is non-porous. It's non-permeable to a lot of extent. But what happens in other house where we have a brick, where brick really has to take care, but there where the region is, it's a Livardist region. It hardly rains there. Now it's a problem with the sun and dust. So dust will be only clean when it rains because you can't clean so much. I never use the chemicals because I always feel if it is to be avoided and building needs to age. I think in Ahmedabad, nothing is applied in 50 years. Building ages, it changes the little bit color. In rainy season where it is very much exposed to the rain, it takes the green moss. Where it is, there are white salts come sometimes outside, but I think it's a part of the building, like a face. Wrinkles will come. I already have white hairs. With the time, more white hairs will come. So it has to age. And I think by restricting something natural, you go against the nature. But I think if you want a building in a very, let's say, next to the beach and where brick is very prone to erode, you have to apply. And honestly, I never applied, so I can't comment on it. But you have to apply, and that also has to come like maybe you make when you get the project, if you know you're going to use the brick, you already apply 4 or 5 materials and see how it, by the your plinth comes up, you decide in 1 month, 2 months, 3 months how the building brick is acting on it.
Well, I think Girish sir wants to add something.
Saurabh, absolutely delightful journey from count duck floor to Italian marble railing, Judah, tango, rock and roll, and
Thank you.
Bismarck bench. And I really love that you collaborate with Prabhakar Singh and Divya Jyoti, all these youngsters, they also become part of your journey. And it is great to see you on screen, you know. You are so passionate about your work that it's really fun to see that energy, you know, coming from you. And I really loved it. Thank you so much.
I would like to mention that you have shown the Rupali, local Pune Rupali flavor to all the people in the world. About 300 plus participants viewing today. And of course, they'll be viewing on YouTube and they know about Rupali now. So thank you very much. And I will also mention that your historical and traditional concepts into your architecture, product design, products and furniture, and your all the creations. And we could see them live today in the sense that demo was live, and we are really exploring the new normal in the sense that this couldn't have taken place otherwise. You know, this was really good, and we are now used to exploring the new normal now. So thank you very much.
Supriya, I will end with one last product which is not designed by me.
Okay.
It is designed by, I think, our ancestors.
Okay.
And why I like the product is it has form follows the function. Nothing is extra in that material, and it is utility based material. So it is, my mother has a good collection and it is from her collection. I will try to show. It's a 3-storied box, which is, if you see the one handle, there are 2 spoons which locks all the whole 3-storied things. They are serving spoons. It must be not very old, 30-year-old. Spoon comes out. The spoon comes out. When spoons comes out, this become your carrying bowl, and this becomes your using bowl. And out of the 6 things, out of 3 tables, you have one for serving, one for having container. So the design is so sensitive that none of the single thing is extra and none of the things is used for no reason. And I think that we always had in our culture, but I think we have to get back to that. And with that note, I think I thanks full MMCA, Girish Doshi, Tanay, for helping me, because this is my first webinar I ever did. So I was a little bit struggling with the share screen and other things. But again, thanks a lot. And I hope the coming new sessions will be as enriching as we had the past. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, and we will meet again tomorrow at the same time for another enriching session. I hope you all tune in tomorrow, same time. Thank you.
Thank you.